Hello, and welcome to the 2020 Junior Project in the BFA program in theater at New World School of the Arts. My name is James Samuel Randolph, and I'm the director of this production. In the third year of this program, we train towards mastering heightened language and classical styles. This year, we chose the works of Moliere, so welcome to The Jealous Husband and Other Bits of Fun in Froth, a one-act festival of Moliere's works. This work has presented a lot of challenges in that we've had to do it through the virtual reality, which has become a part of our everyday lives. The choice has been made to use the actual environments in which the actors find themselves in versus black walls or abstract portraits. This facilitates the lives and living of the characters and fulfills Moliere's intent as he displays his values on fundamental parts of life such as marriage, family, divorce, the theater, power, and privilege. The students have worked to instill the integrity of the style while still filling the needs of this online platform. There's a strong sense of costumes of the period to realize the beliefs, customs, and values in the historical period of the mid-17th century. This would be best described as Baroquish in tribute to the time known as the Baroque period. There will be a brief intermission between the second play, Two Precious Maidens Ridiculed, and the third play, The Imaginary Cuckhold. I wish to thank the cast and the production crews for their artistry and industry. Thank you so much for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Monsieur de Bacot? Monsieur de Bacot, are you here? Is anybody here? Hello?
Slut.
Okay, good morning. Right. Okay, you're ready? None of my business.
What?
That's okay. That's what I wrote you for. It's fine.
Oh, so you think I'm just
Be quiet. Lagrange, have you seen Bacot anywhere?
No, I have not seen Bacot anywhere. He's probably drunk again like this over here.
So what am I drunk? It's early in the morning. So what? I'm drunk.
Please, Moliere, can talk. You're giving me a headache.
Monsieur Moliere?
No, eating all of you. You think you're so clever.
I cannot think
So long. You look very nice. I like the easily.
I'd like to hear a chapter of Aristotle, which proves that all of the universe can only coexist when there's harmony between
I'm coming, Sandy!
No, you want to hear.
More cigarettes in the box.
Let me see. I want you to take a little bite.
What is it? What do you want?
Crunch gives those to you?
I can almost. When you eat the banana, I can almost feel it in my
Magic.
Put the bottle down. Hello, thank you. All right, we're ready to go.
This, I admit, I am the unluckiest husband in the world. My wife does whatever she can to anger me. Instead of comforting me and obeying my wishes, she drives me out of my mind 20 times a day. Instead of taking care of the house, she likes to go skipping out for walks, living the high life, and mixing with the worst sort of people. Poor Babouye, you are so miserable, but you must do something to punish her. What if you killed her? No, that's a feeble suggestion. They'd hang me for it. Put her in prison. The hussy would get hold of a skeleton key and break out. But you must do something to make her suffer. Stop arguing. Here comes my learned neighbor. I'll ask him for some ideas. Monsieur, I'm just coming to look for you to ask you about a matter of some importance.
My dear Babouel, you are badly brought up, unlettered, and unlearned to accost me without considering the time, the place, or the person you are addressing. You should preface your words with, Good health to you, doctor. You most learned of doctors. What do you take me for, my good man?
Excuse me, my head was in a well. I wasn't thinking what I was doing, but I do realize you are a fine fellow.
Do you know where that fellow comes from?
I couldn't care less, so help me if he came from Marseille or Manchuria.
The word fellow breaks down in two component syllables, fel and lo, which have nothing to do with falling to the ground, but are derived from the medieval words feo and laga, meaning fee and leg respectively. That is, he who lays down a fee is offering himself up as a partner. Hence, he is to be trusted. Therefore, he is a fellow.
Ah, I think I fellow. Follow? So much for that. Now, monsieur, I need to talk to you.
You utter that word, monsieur, as though I were a mere gentleman.
What else are you?
A doctor, nay, more. I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 times a doctor. First, just as the unit is the prime integer, the foundation, and the first among numbers, so I am the first among doctors, the doctor of doctors. Second, just as the twin faculties, sense and understanding, are necessary for the comprehension of all matters, so I, who am all sense and all understanding, must be twice a doctor.
Fair enough. Still, I think we need to
Third,
talk.
just as 3 is the perfect number according to Aristotle, so I and all my works are perfect. Therefore, I am thrice a doctor.
Now, wait a minute. If you could just,
Fourth,
please.
just as philosophy is divided into 4 parts, logic, morals, physics, and metaphysics, so I, who am totally conversant with them all, must be 4 times a doctor.
Who's denying it? Listen, will you just please, doctor?
Fifth, just as there are 5 universal categories, genus, specimen, rule, difference, and exception, without which it is impossible to reason correctly, so I, a master of reasoning, must be 5 times a doctor.
For all I care, you could be a horse, doctor.
6, just as there are 6 working days in the week, so I, who work unceasingly to further my fame, must be 6 times a doctor.
Keep talking, I'm not listening.
7, just as 7 represents felicity, because so I, who am acquainted with all the means of achieving happiness, an acquaintance for which I thank all my bountiful talents, so I'm obliged to say of myself, oh, 3 plus 4 times happy, doctor. 8, just as 8 stands for justice, because of the equality between the 4s and of the 2s, of which there are 4. So I, who can boast of the prudence and justice with which I weigh all my actions, must be 8 times a doctor. 9, just as there are 9 muses, I am equally adored by them all. 10, whereas when you come to this number, you cannot exceed this number without repeating it, whereas it is the universal number. Therefore, I say, when you come to me, you cannot exceed me because you've come to the universal doctor. I encompass all other doctors. And thus you can see by this plausible, true, and demonstrated reasons that I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 times a doctor.
What the devil was all that? I thought I met a wise man who could give me some sensible advice, but all I've got is an idiot who babbles and counts his fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Let me say one thing. I'm not asking you for free advice. I am not asking you for money. If you give me satisfaction, I'll give you what you want. You want a fee? A fee you shall have. Money, understand?
Money, eh?
You damn right, money, and whatever else you ask for.
So you take me for a man who'll do anything for money. I use her, is that it? Let me tell you, my friend, that if you gave me a purse crammed with gold coins, and that purse in an inlaid box, and that box in a priceless casket, and the casket in a priceless coffer, and the coffer in a rare cabinet, and the cabinet in a magnificent room, and the room part of a luxurious wing of a sumptuous castle, and the castle part of an incomparable citadel, and the citadel the capital of a fertile county, and the county part of a wealthy province, and the province part of a flourishing kingdom, and the kingdom the most powerful in the world. If you gave me the world itself, or only the flourishing kingdom, or only the wealthy province, or only the fertile county, or only the great city, or only the incomparable citadel, or only the luxurious wing of the sumptuous castle, or only the magnificent room, or only the rare cabinet, or only the priceless café, only the priceless casket, or only the inlaid box, or only the purse crammed with gold coins, or only a single but valuable gold coin without the purse, I would care for as little for you and for your money as that.
What a sleep. He calls himself a doctor, so I thought I'd talk money to him. But if he doesn't want any payment, I'm only too glad to oblige him. Doctor, come back.
Seeing that my husband, I assure you, monsieur, that I am grateful for your company. My husband is so ugly, so debauched, so bestowed with doing that it is torture for me to be with him. You can only imagine how much satisfaction a girl can get from a grouch like that.
My dear lady, I am honored by your request, and I promise to do everything I can to entertain you. Since you don't find my company disagreeable, I will try to repay the joy your sweet words have given me. My most sincere attentions.
Psst. Change the subject. Here comes some bad tidings in Paris.
Madame, it grieves me to have to bring you such unfortunate news, but you would have heard this from someone else if not from me. Seeing as your brother is so ill.
Hey, Maman, monsieur, I thank you for the trouble. At your service.
Well, I don't have to apply to the notary for my cuckold certificate. So, Madame Trollop, I find you with a man after all the warnings you had from me. Now you're just trying to plant horns in the furrows of my forehead.
Do not lose your reason. The gentleman came to inform me that my brother is ill. Is that something to fight about?
He's back again. Never gives us 5 minutes of peace, huh?
Ooh, you're a pair of sluts. You, Kadal, you're the one who's been corrupting my wife. As soon as she took you on, she started to go downhill.
You're a fine one to talk. With the uphill example you set, that's you.
The drunk, he is so bottled that he does not know what he is saying.
Oh, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what you
She deserves better than you.
don't know anything.
You don't deserve her.
Son-in-law quarreling with my daughter again?
We better see what's wrong.
Now what? You're always squabbling. Is there never any peace in your household?
The creature called me a drunk. I have a good mind to clout you a stiff one in front of your father.
If you do, by God, I'll give up the dowry and take her back.
He is one that always starts.
You put a curse on her when you gave her to this tight word.
Enough, everybody. Quiet.
What is going on here? Difference of opinion, disturbance, dissension, disintegration? Ladies, gentlemen, please. Let us see if there's not some way to reach a settlement. I hereby appoint myself your peacemaker to promote harmony among you.
My daughter and son-in-law are at odds.
What sort of odds? Tell me so that I can even them out.
Monsieur, it was all...
Briefly, please.
All right, keep your bonnet on.
Do you know the origin of the word bonnet?
None.
The word bonnet comes from the Latin word bonus est, meaning it is good. Why is it good, you ask?
I was just going to...
It is good because it keeps away the cataract and the bronchitis.
With God? I didn't know that.
And now, briefly, the cause of the quarrel.
Here's what happened.
I know you wish not to keep me unnecessarily, since I beg you not to. I have urgent business in town. However, if I can bring your family back together again, I can stay for one moment.
In one moment, I can tell you all about it.
Please remember, Monsieur Gorgibus, that it is a pleasure to hear from a man who can speak his mind in a few words. The great talkers of the world are not intent on making people listen to them endlessly. Often, they express themselves so tersely, it is impossible to understand them. Virtutem primum et a concer linguam. That is, the finest quality is to control one's tongue. The greatest virtue in a gentleman is to know what not to say.
In that case,
Socrates gave his disciples 3 careful recommendations. Restrain your behavior, curb your appetite, and shorten your speeches. Now begin, Monsieur Gorgibus.
I will if you let me.
Slice away the gibberish. Come straight to the point. Speak to me in only epigrams. Now begin, Monsieur Gorgibus.
Will you, for God's sakes, let me say something?
Get to it, Monsieur Gorgibus. You're spluttering away and wasting words. Somebody else better give me the point.
I will, monsieur. You realize that...
You, monsieur, are an anti-scolaire, an ignoramus, or in simple language, a donkey. What? You begin your narrative without so much as a preamble? I refuse to listen. Will somebody else please speak? You, madame, can you give me a coherent amount of what has happened here?
You see that fat fool of a husband of mine, that sour sack of wine.
Gently, gently, speak of your spouse with respect when you stand in the presence of a preeminent scholar.
Some doctor you are. I swear with you, your doctorlings, your doctorate. I could play the doctor too if I want to.
You can play. I'm sure you can. You look as if you can play with the parts of speech. You like conditional words that depend on conjunctions, the genitive case, the masculine gender. You like the preposition that introduces the proposition. You like the rhythms of speech, the regular beat. You, monsieur, can you give me a coherent amount of what has happened here?
Doctor, you do realize that is my wife you are talking
to. Doctor, at last we're beginning properly. Oh, those words chime sweetly in my ears with the right degree of emphasis. Continue.
It was my wish to be very
Even better. It was my wish. The wish presupposes the will. The will presupposes the means to attain that will. By means of the means, an end may be attained. And since an end implies an object, you could have said nothing better than it was my wish.
I am boiling, you ignorant.
Strike out that word boiling. It is coarse and vulgar.
Will you listen to me for pity's sake?
Listen to me, Adjo Kessel, the words of Horace.
There have been enough horrors already today. If you don't shut up and listen to me, I'll break your little doctoring neck.
I am a preeminent scholar. No, you cannot do it. You cannot stay me this way. No, please, I beg you not to.
Bakin, we must leave. Daughter, go back into the house and learn to live with your husband.
Good day to you, ladies.
I am grateful to you, Lavallee, for making the appointment, and I promise to be there in 1 hour.
You can't alter the arrangement. If you arrive only 15 minutes late, the party will be over and you'll miss seeing the lady you love. Oh, you'd better come with me immediately.
Very well.
Seeing that my husband isn't about, I'll slip out. I'll be home before he does. Guys, at some bar. That heartless brute leaves me alone as if I were his dog.
I knew I'd get the better of that pedant. Ignorant I may be, but I brought him and his theories down to earth. Now, I'll go indoors and see what my little wife has prepared for dinner.
Oh, I was unlucky. Arrived too late. The party was over when I got there and everyone was leaving. Never mind. My appointment with Bel-Air will have to keep until next time. I'll slip back into the house before he notices. What is this? The door is locked. Kathao! Kathao!
Kathao! Kathao! What is she up to? And how about you, you trash? Where have you come from at this time of night, in this weather?
Why don't you open up and I'll tell you afterwards?
You can go back where you came from and sleep there, or in the gutter if you prefer that. I'm not letting any street walker into my house. I've never heard of such a thing, going out alone in this hour. I don't know if I'm imagining it, but it feels as if my forehead is breaking out.
Why are you complaining that I am on my own when you scream at me when I have company? What am I supposed to do?
You're supposed to stay in the house and prepare my dinner and sweep and take care of the children. But I'm not wasting any more words on you. Goodbye, good night. Go to the devil and let me go to bed.
You won't open the door for me.
No, I won't.
Please, my darling, open up, my sweet.
Crocodile, serpent, your honeyed words drift with treachery.
Let me come in.
Never get thee behind me, Satan.
You won't let me
in. No.
Oh, you have no pity for the wife who loves you so madly.
No, I am a rock. You have injured me. I am as incensed as the maniac. In other words, very much. I am unmovable.
Oh, you drive me too far. I will lose my temper and do something that you will be sorry for.
Oh, what will you do, my bird?
If you do not let me in, I will kill myself in front of the door. My father walks past here every night to make sure that we're all right. He'll find me lying here, and you'll be hung.
Oh, that's a good one. Who will be worse off? You lose your life while I lose my wife. Besides, you would never do such a thing like that.
Oh, you don't believe me? Look, here, I have a knife ready. If you do not let me in, I will plunge it into my heart.
Oh, watch out. The blade looks sharp.
Will you let me in?
I've told you enough times. No. Kill yourself. Perish. Go straight to hell. I don't give a damn.
Then, farewell. Oh, I'm dying.
Oh, she'd never be that stupid enough to do it. I better go out with the candle to make sure.
If only I can sneak into the house while you are out here, then we will see who has turned the table.
I knew she wasn't that much of a fool. If she's dead, she died running, or else a breeze blew her body away. Still, she did frighten me for a moment. Luckily for her, she decided to scoot. If I found her alive after giving me a scare like that, I'd let her have 5 or 6 smart kicks in the rear end. That would have taught her something. Well, I'm going to bed. That's funny. The wind must have slammed the door shut. Kakao, open up. Kakao. Let me in, you she-devil, or I'll break you into bits.
Now what? Still quarreling?
You should have made up by now.
Look at him down there, as looked as a figure. Imagine coming home at this hour and standing in this screaming and threatening me.
Look here. This is no time to come home. If you were a good family man, you would come home at a respectable hour and behave decently to your wife.
May I drop dead if I've been out of this house. If you don't believe me, ask those people in the Zoom chat. Right there. Yes, you. She's the one who just came home. Oh, innocent. Thou art betrayed.
Now. Let's settle everything. Tell her you're sorry.
I'll see her in flames first. I'm so mad I can't breathe.
It's up to you. Kiss your husband and make up.
Hello? More twittering and trembling, more trouble, more turbulence, more tumult. Ladies, gentlemen, now what is the matter? Can't a man get a night's sleep?
It's nothing, doctor. Everyone is at peace.
In reference to that word peace, would you like me to read you a chapter of Aristotle in which he proves that all the parts of the universe can only coexist when there is peace between them?
Is it a long chapter?
Only 80 or 90 pages.
Oh, that's okay. We will not keep you up.
Some other night, Doctor.
You don't want to hear it?
None.
Then I wish you a good night, or in Latin, bona nox.
And now we can go all eat dinner together.
Range,
Yes.
listen for a moment and don't laugh.
What is it?
Are you satisfied with the reception here?
Have I any reason to be satisfied? Have you?
Not that I can think of.
If you want the truth, I am shocked. Did you ever see two callow girls giving themselves such airs? Or two men of the world like us treated with so much contempt? They could hardly offer themselves to bring us chairs. I have never seen so many whispers passing between little lips and big ears, and so much yawning and asking, how late is it? Could they have behaved worse if we were the two least eligible bachelors in all of the world?
You're taking this thing too seriously.
I am indeed. Seriously enough to intend to pay them back for their insulting behavior. I know what has made them snub us. It's this precious manner that has first infected Paris and has now infected the entire country. And these hussies have caught a bad attack of it. What an unappetizing mixture. Preciousness and flirting. I think I've guessed how a man must act in order to be welcomed in this house. And if you do your part, we'll put on a little performance that will confront them with their own stupidity and show them how to treat a real gentleman.
How?
My valet, Mascari, passes himself off as a man of wit and fine manners. Nothing is easier to imitate these days than fine manners. And he plays the fop and sees himself as a man of breeding. And he strains to learn verse and to write elegantly. And he turns up his nose at other valets and he calls them unrefined.
What are you going to do about it?
I'll tell you, but first, let's get away from this house, eh?
Well, gentlemen, now you've seen my niece and daughter, and I would like to know how's everything going? What
you'd
result of your visit?
better ask them rather than us. All we can say is that we are grateful for your kindness and your most humble servants.
They did not look very happy. I wonder why. I must ask, Marital,
Oui, monsieur.
where are the young ladies?
Le boudoir.
Doing what?
Making pomade for their lips.
I'll pomade them. Tell them to come down. Those jades with their pomade are trying to ruin me. I see nothing in this house but whites of eggs, virgin's milk, and 1,000 other mysterious concoctions. Since we've been here, they've used up the lard from at least 12 pigs, and 4 servants could go the rest of their lives off of the sheep's feet that they've ground up for their pests. Spend so much money to grease up your grinning faces. How did you behave toward those 2 gentlemen to make them live so coldly? Didn't I order you to welcome them as future husbands?
But, Father, what about their abominable manner toward us?
How can a reasonable girl tolerate men like those?
What didn't you like about them?
A fine sense of chivalry they have. To begin our relationship by treating us like wives?
How else would you have them begin? By treating you like concubines? I think they conducted themselves very well, and so should you. The sacred tie of marriage. That's what they're looking forward to. Doesn't that prove that their intentions are pure and sincere?
Father, you are impossibly bourgeois. I feel ashamed to hear you speaking so bluntly. You ought to learn a little gentility.
I don't believe in all your hoity-toity talk. I'm a simple man, and I'm telling you that marriage is a simple and holy thing. And if you're honest, you'll talk about it right from the beginning.
If everybody thought that, a novel would end as soon as it started. What if Cyrus married Mandane in chapter 1? Or Arance wedded to Clelia without any obstacles instead of having to wait until the end of volume 10?
What does all this got to do with me?
Father, Cousin Katos would tell you the same thing. Marriage can only take place after all the other adventures. To make himself acceptable, a lover must know how to utter beautiful thoughts, pour out tenderness, sweetness, and passion, and, very important, his wooing must follow the rules. First, he meets the maiden he loves in church, or out walking, or at a public ceremony, or he must be led by fate. In other words, a friend or a relative to her home in which he emerges in a dream or state of melancholy. He hides his devotion from his beloved for a while, but he does visit and join in discussions of gallantry. This never fails to edify the assembled guests. The day of his declaration comes, and this is usually made along some garden path when the rest of the company has moved out of range, and the message of love promptly enrages us. Our blushes indicate this clearly, and the young man is thereby banished from our presence for a short time. He next finds some way of appeasing us. And gradually we soften to his passionate recital, and he draws out our own vows, which are unbearably painful to confess. After that come the adventures, the rivals who throw themselves in the way of true love, the persecutions made by the fathers, the jealousy caused by misunderstanding, the abductions, the heartaches, the accusations, and other assorted complications. That is how these affairs unwind. There are rules of chivalry and breeding that must be observed, but to leap from one end of the love affair to the other, to substitute a marriage contract for a love amour, to seize the noble by its tail, nothing, Father, nothing could be more commercial, and the mere thought of it makes my heart shiver.
What the devil is all that jargon? Is that what they call our style?
Cousin Magdalene has described it exquisitely, Uncle. How can we welcome men who have only the crudest idea of gallantry? I'd wager that they have never seen the map of the lovescape, are quite unfamiliar with such place names as love letters, tiny attentions, gallant words, and pretty poems. Their very appearance lacks that gracious air that impresses people. Coming to court us without a ribbon in their calves or a plume in their hats, without touching up their hair after they walk in, and wearing clothes with not a single decoration on them. Good high heaven, what sort of lovers are they? with their drab outfits and dreary conversation. We couldn't possibly have gone any farther with them. Their short fronts come from the wrong tailor, and the breeches are 6 noticeable inches too narrow.
They're off their rockers, both of them. Listen to me, Katos, and you, Magdalene.
Father, please address us by something more suitable, not those outlandish names.
Outlandish names? Are those not the names you were baptized with?
You are simply common. I am ashamed that a man like you could have had a daughter of my quality. Have you ever heard any novelist calling her characters Katos or Magdalene? Either of those names would be enough to deface the finest story ever written.
That is true, Uncle. A delicate ear suffers on hearing words such as those. The names my cousin and I have chosen for ourselves. Oh, Polysine and Amanite are far more graceful, you must agree.
I don't see any reason why you should have any names other than the ones given you by your godfathers and godmothers. As for those gentlemen we were talking about, I know their families and I know their properties. And I decided that you are going to take them as future husbands. I'm fed up with having you on my hands. Keeping 2 girls out of mischief is too much for a man of my age.
All I can say to you, Uncle, is that I consider marriage quite distasteful. How can one support the thought of lying beside a man who is literally naked?
We have only just arrived here. Let us breathe a while in past society and create the novel of our lives at leisure. Don't rush us into the ending.
They're over the edge, no doubt about it. I can't follow any of this twaddle. I am the master of this house. That is the end of the discussion. You two are either going to get married and soon, or I'll make nuns out of you. I take my oath on it.
Your father's form, dear, is so buried in content. His intelligence is mud, and there is darkness in his soul.
I am embarrassed of him. I cannot persuade myself that I am his daughter. One day, I think, some adventure will prove that my birth was in truth illustrious.
Everything points to it. And personally, when I look at myself, I...
There is a man here who wants to know if you are at home. Says his master would like to see you.
Ugh, you impertinent creature. Learn to announce yourself with less vulgarity. Say, a necessary nuisance requests whether or not you are in a convenient state to be attended upon.
Moi, I don't understand Latin, and I haven't yet picked up my philosophy from those novels you read.
Oh, you idiot! How do I ever put up with you? Well, who is the master of this necessary nuisance?
Says he's called the Marquis de Mascari.
My dear, a marquis? Good, go and tell him that he may make his entrance. He must be a society wit who has already heard of us.
Oh, definitely.
We'll have to receive him down here rather than in the boudoir. Let's tidy our hair and make good on our reputation. Quickly, repair to the inner chamber with our silver beauty counselor.
Lord, slap me down if I know what you're on about. You'll have to stop talking heathen if you want me to follow.
Fetch us the mere fool, and make sure not to soil the glass by reflecting your image in it.
Stop, Bartes, stop! There. Oh, I think these rogues mean to destroy me by banging themselves down against every wall and flagstone.
It's a narrow doorway. You wanted us to bring you all the way in?
Certainly I did. Rascal, do you want me to expose the extremities of my plumes to the unkindness of the damp season and to imprint my footwear in mud? Be gone and take your sedan with you.
Are you going to pay us, please, monsieur?
What was that?
I asked if you'd be so kind as to pay us.
What's your name? Asking a person of my quality for money.
This is how poor people get paid. Is your quality going to give us our dinner?
I'll soon teach you who you are. Do these trifles mean to rifle with me?
Hey, now pay us, quick.
Eh?
I said I want my money now.
This man is reasonable.
Hurry up.
Yes, I like the way you ask. This one is a knave. He does not know how to ask. There, are you satisfied?
No, I'm not satisfied. You clouted my pal's face.
Don't be offended. Here, this will cover for the blow. You can have anything of me as long as you ask decently. Away you go. Come back later to take me to the Louvre, into the king's inner sanctum.
The ladies will be here in a minute.
Tell them not to hurry. I am comfortably installed to await them.
Here they are. Da-da-da.
Dear ladies, you will be surprised, no doubt, at the audacity of my visit. But your reputation has a cause for this tiresome encounter on you. And your excellence exerts so powerful a charm on me that I would race everywhere to pursue it.
Monsieur, it is not on our lands that you shall hunt for excellence.
If there be excellence here, it is you who have brought it.
No, ladies, I register a protest against your words. Renown has indeed paid you fair tribute, and you will win in every game in the elegant world of Paris. Pique, repique, and capote, as we say in Piquet.
Your tongue, monsieur. It is too liberal with its place. My cousin and I will endeavor not to take its sweet flattery too much to heart.
My dear, we have need of chairs.
Armando, you there?
Madame.
Quickly, erase the commodities of conversation.
But am I safe here?
Why? What do you fear?
The theft of my heart and the assassination of my liberty. I see eyes about me that are like naughty boys, ready to capture me and treat me like a Moorish prisoner of the Turks. No sooner do I approach them than they stand murderously on guard. By my soul, I do not trust them. I must flee. Unless you promise they shall do me no harm.
My dear, he is the lively character of the life.
A true Amilcar.
Do not be afraid. Our eyes have no wicked designs on you, and your heart may rest assured of their probity.
But please, monsieur, do not resist this chair which has been holding out its arms. Satisfy its desire to embrace you.
Well, ladies, what do you say to Paris?
What can we say? It would be the obverse of reason to deny that Paris is the great office of marvel, the center of good taste, high wit, and chivalry.
For myself, I owe that beyond Paris, there is no healthy life for decent people.
An unmitigable truth.
It does grow rather muddy, but one has one sedan.
One does indeed. The sedan is a miraculous stronghold against the onslaughts of mud in ill weather.
Do you receive many visitors? Who is your leading personality?
Unhappily, we are not yet known. But we are becoming acquainted, and we are now close to a lady who promised to bring us all the gentlemen who contributed in the anthologies of collected fragments.
As well as certain other gentlemen who have been recommended to us as sovereign arbiters of good taste.
I can attend to this better than anyone. They all come to visit me, and I can honestly say I never get out of bed without finding a half-dozen great minds waiting to pay court to me.
We would be beholden to you, monsieur, to that deepest depth, if you could do us this kindness. After all, we must meet all those gentlemen if we are to belong to the cream of society. They are the men who confer reputations in Paris. And as you know, a single visit from any of them is enough to establish a person as being in the know. Nothing else is necessary. These brilliant gatherings teach you hundreds of things you simply must be aware of. The essence of sophistication. As you become acquainted, you learn new witticisms from the pretty exchanges of prose and verse. You hear about it as soon as so-and-so writes the most delightful little item on such and such a topic. A certain lady has married words to a bare melody. This one has composed a madrigal to celebrate a conquest. That one, he just thrown off a few stanzas to bewail an infidelity. Monsieur X last night wrote a 6-line poem to Mademoiselle Y, to which she sent a reply at 8 o'clock this morning. Author A just finished the outline of his new novel. Author B is well into the third part of his. Author C is just sending his to the printer. This is the sort of thing that makes you respected. And if you cannot keep up, I would not give a brass tack for all your wit.
Yes, I find it utterly ridiculous for one person to think that he can keep up with the world unless he knows about the tiniest 4-line verse that is written that day. Why, I would die of shame if someone had asked me if I had seen a new poem, and I hadn't.
Oh, true. It is downright embarrassing to not be a party to everything the moment has in store. But don't be disturbed. I will establish a French Academy of Fine Minds here in your home. I guarantee there will not be one smattering of poetry in Paris that you won't know by heart before anyone else. And I may say, in all modesty, I scribble myself when I feel like it. And as they flow through the most exclusive channels in Paris, you are likely to hear some 200 of my songs, an equal number of sonnets, 400 epigrams, and more than 1,000 madrigals, not counting my enigmas and profiles.
I am furiously fond of profiles. I think nothing flashes like the dazzle of a profile.
Profiles are difficult. They call for a profound mind. You will see a few of mine that may not displease you.
I myself am devoted to enigmas.
Now they put the intelligence through its paces. I tossed up 4 this morning. I'll give you some of mine to work out.
Madrigals are enchanting when they are well formed.
My special talent, I'm composing a history in madrigals of the Roman Empire.
That will be the most bewitching thing. I must claim a copy if you have it published.
You shall each have a copy, I promise, in the finest binding. It is, of course, below my dignity and standing to publish books in my own name. I allow the booksellers to have them so they can also earn some money.
It must give you great pleasure to see yourself on the printed page.
I suppose so. That reminds me, I absolutely must recite to you an impromptu. I wrote it yesterday during a visit to a friend, a duchess, you know. I am devilishly powerful when it comes to impromptus.
The impromptu is the ultimate touchstone of wit. Oh.
Listen to this one.
We are all ears.
Oh! Oh! I could not have been on guard. For when I innocently stared at you too hard, Your sly little eye stole my heart. Oh, grief! Stop, thief! Stop, thief! Stop, thief! Stop, thief!
Heavenly, expressed with the utmost delicacy.
Everything I do has that spontaneous touch. It never reeks of the pedant nor even the scholar.
It's the other end of the universe.
What did you think of the beginning? Oh, something extraordinary has happened, and so, like a man who becomes aware all of a sudden. A surprise.
It's such an expressive,
It doesn't seem like much.
What are you saying? It is one of those statements that are priceless.
Nothing less. I would have rather written that, than an epic poem.
Sublime, but you have good taste.
Quite good.
But didn't you like the, I could not have been on guard too? I could not have been on guard, meaning I was not watching out when I should have been, but a more natural way of saying it. I could not have been on guard. Next, for when I innocently, that is without malice or wrong intention, like a poor sheep, stared at you too hard. In other words, I considered you. I observed you. I contemplated you. Your sly little eye. What do you think of that word sly? Plucked from a field of alternatives. Isn't it well chosen?
Methodically.
Sly, cunning, furtive, like a cat who has just caught a mouse sly.
It could not be more apt.
Stole my heart, carried it away, robbed me of it. Stop thief, stop thief, stop thief, stop thief. Wouldn't you say that's a man shouting and running after a thief to make him stop? Stop thief, stop thief, stop thief, stop thief.
It has a menacing and mysterious ring.
Would you like to hear the melody I put to it?
Oh, you've studied music?
I never.
Then how did you compose it?
Men of quality know everything without having to know anything.
Of course, dear.
Tell me what you think of the melody. La 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 la. Mi. Sol do. Brutal weather always mutilates my voice, but no matter. This is only an amateur performance. Oh, I could not have been on guard, for when I innocently stared at you too hard, your sly little eye stole my heart. Oh, grief. Stop thief, stop thief, stop thief, stop thief.
Oh, what passion there is in that melody. I could die of it.
Positively crammed with chromatics.
Wouldn't you say? The music finds its expression in the dot, and vice versa. Stop thief, and then, as if the cry were growing louder, stop thief, stop thief, stop thief, stop thief.
It's the last thing of all, the very last, the great last. It is a marvel. I am captured by the words and the melody.
I have never been exposed to anything more forceful.
Everything I do just comes to me naturally, without study.
Nature has treated you like an indulgent mother, and you are her spoiled child.
Tell me, How do you spend your days?
Doing nothing.
Until now, we have been starved of entertainment.
Would you like me to escort you to the theater one day soon? They should be performing a little something I would like us to see together.
How could we refuse?
But I must ask for you to applaud in the right places. I am committed to the play's success. The author came to see me about it this morning. We have a custom in Paris. Authors come to see us, men of quality, to read us their new plays and, if possible, to win our approval in advance so as to secure their reputations. As you can imagine, once we have read something and liked it, nobody in the cheap seats dares to contradict us. I am a man of scruple, and once I give a playwright my promise, I always shout, "Author! Author!" before the house lights go up.
We understand perfectly. Paris can be a scintillating place, and 100 things happen every day that we know nothing about in the provinces, however brilliant we may be.
You have told us enough. Now that we know, we will do our duty and shriek our admiration in the right places at every word that is spoken.
I may be wrong, but you seem to me like someone who has written a play.
I don't deny that there may be something in what you say.
We must see it. Between ourselves, I have completed the one that I intend to have staged.
What company will you give it to?
What a question. Naturally, to the Bourgogne players. They are the only ones who know how to play for effect. The others are ignorant fellows who talk like people. They don't know how to snort out their lines or pause at a strategic point. And how can we recognize a fine line if the actor doesn't pause to warn us it is time to show our appreciation?
That is the only way to let the audience feel the beauty of a work. Lines are worth no more than the actors endow them with.
By the by, tell me, what do you think of my accoutrements? Don't you find them suited to these outfits?
Oh, ineffably.
The ribbon is well matched, isn't it?
Seriously, well, it is pure Paris.
Tell me, what do you think of my garters?
Oh, they look terribly right.
Without boasting, I must mention that they are a comfortable 12 inches wider than the ready-made variety.
I have never seen such prepossessing accessories.
Now, bring your nasal passages within perfume range of these gloves.
They smell fantastically good.
I have never breathed a more elusive fragrance.
Now, inhale my wig.
How subtle! It touches the brain deliciously.
You haven't told me anything about my plumes. What do you think?
Paralyzingly beautiful.
Can you believe the headpiece cost me an old gold coin? I have a mania. I veer only towards what is finest.
You and I are one, rigidly particular about clothing. Right down to my understockings, I cannot bear anything that doesn't come from the most expensive seamstress.
Ah! Damn, ladies! My eyes! But you're being unfair. You're taking advantage of me. It's not honest.
What isn't? What's wrong?
Both of you, against my heart, attacking me from the right and the left. It's against the rules of warfare. The struggle is unequal, and I must cry out, murder!
He has such an individual way of saying things.
He has an inimitable turn of phrase.
You are more afraid than injured. Your heart cries out before it is damaged.
That will take me if it isn't damaged, from head to foot.
Madame, somebody to see you.
The Vicomte de Jodelet.
Jodelet?
Oui, monsieur.
You know him?
He is my best friend.
Ask him to come swiftly in.
It's some time since we last saw each other. I am overjoyed at this lucky encounter.
Here he is.
Vicomte!
Eh? Ah! Marquis!
What a surprise!
Oh,
Mwah.
what a delight.
One more little kiss, please.
We, my dear, are becoming known. Society is walking right up to our front door.
Ladies, allow me to present to you this gentleman. I swear that he is worth your acquaintance.
I come to pay you the homage you deserve. Your charms demand their droit de signore from any man.
Your kindness is extending to the further limits of flattery.
We must mark this day on our calendars as a day of high fortune.
Come along, boy! Must I repeat everything? You can see we need a supplemental chair.
Don't be surprised, ladies, if the Vicomte's face is rather wan. He has just recovered from a seizure.
The fruits of the long night in the palace and the fatigues of warfare.
Do you know, ladies, that in the Vicomte, you see one of the most valiant men of the century, a paragon of courage.
You are of no less, Marquis. We know what you two are capable of.
It is true that we were together wherever the fighting was thickest.
And the heat was hottest, eh? Yeah?
Yes, but not as hot as it is in here, eh?
Yes, we met in the army. The first time we ever met each other, he was commanding a regiment of horses to the Maltese galleys.
Yes, but you enlisted before I did. I was only a subaltern when you were in charge of 2,000 cavalry men.
Yes, war is a fine thing. But damn, my wounds! Today there is almost no recognition in the court for distinguished men of arms like us.
I am tempted to hang up my sword.
Oh, I must say I have a leaning towards swordsmen.
I admire them too, but I like my bravery seasoned with wit.
Vicomte, do you remember the crescent-shaped fortress we seized from the enemy at the siege of Arras?
Oh, what do you mean a crescent-shaped? It was a full moon.
I think you must be right.
I ought to remember, by God. I was wounded in the leg by a grenade. I still carry the scars. Here, touch it lightly. You feel the lump? That's it.
Oh, the scar is enormous.
Give me your hand a moment and feel this at the back of my head. Have you got it?
I can certainly feel something.
A musket volley I took full blast during my last campaign.
Here is where a bullet entered me and out the other side when I was attacking at the grave lines.
And now, I'm going to show you a truly wicked wound.
You need not! We believe you without seeing it.
These are marks of honor. They prove what kind of a man I am.
Oh, we can see what kind of a man you are.
Vicomte, is your coach outside?
Why?
We can take the ladies for a ride and refreshments.
But we can't go out today.
Then let us have some violins for dancing here.
By God, that's an idea!
We love that. We still need more company.
Where are my servants? Champagne, Picardy, Burgundy, Cascaret, Basque, Lavardou, Lorraine, Provence, La Violette. Oh, they always leave me the scum. I swear, I am the most badly attended nobleman in Paris.
Almanzor, go and find the Marquis' men and tell them to find some violinists. And invite in a few ladies and gentlemen from the neighborhood to share our lonely ball.
Vicomte.
Hey.
What do you say to these eyes?
Ooh, I say. What do you say?
I say that our freedom will have a difficult time leaving this house in one piece. I am feeling a strange thumping. My art is hanging by a single thread.
Everything he says sounds so natural. He contrives the most beautiful language in the world.
Yes, he expends his wit furiously.
To show you that I don't exaggerate, I'm going to make an impromptu based on that statement.
Yes, please, I beg of you with all my heart. Give us a little something written especially for us.
I do the same, but at the moment my poetic veins are dry. I've been bled too many times in the past few days.
What can be holding me back? The first line always comes easy enough. It's the others that generally give me trouble. I'm trying to rush myself. Better if I take longer over this impromptu, and when it is finished, you will have to admit it is the most authentic one ever written.
He has the verbal verve of a demon.
And the chivalry and the style.
Vicomte, tell me, has it been long since you've seen the Comtesse?
Oh, my last visit was 3 weeks ago.
Would you believe this? The Duke came to see me this morning and invited me to unstag with him in the country.
Here come our friends. My dear friends, we beg your pardon. This gentleman has the inspiration of dancing to the sweet singing catcuts, and we sent for you to populate the voids in our company.
We are honored.
This is only a makeshift dance, but soon we shall hold a formal ball. Are the violins ready?
Monsieur, ready. Then let us take our places, ladies.
La, 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 la.
He has such an elegant physique.
And he carries himself like a dancer.
With every step I take, I trade my freedom underfoot. Keep the rhythm, violins. Keep the rhythm. Oh, the ignorant am I. Impossible to follow the beat. Oh, confound you! Don't you know how to play in time? La 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 la. Oh, the firm beat, you rural scrapers!
Hey, don't go too fast! I've scarcely left my sick bed!
Founders? What are you doing here? We've been looking for you for hours.
You didn't take the beating.
You deserve this for trying to play the gentleman.
This will show you who you really are.
What was that about?
Hey, waiter!
What? To let yourselves be thrashed like that?
Good God! I'm not going to let a little thrashing annoy me. I am a violent man. Daren't let myself get carried away.
How could you put up with such an insult in front of us?
It was nothing. I wouldn't even discuss, let alone resent a trivial matter like a beating up, especially when it comes from an old friend.
So you think you can laugh behind our backs, do you, hyenas?
What do you mean by coming in our house and upsetting us like this?
What do you mean, ladies, by welcoming our lackeys more warmly than us, by letting them woo you at our expense, by letting them throw a dance for you?
Your lackeys?
Our lackeys. It's neither fair nor honest of you to distract them from their work.
Oh, what the insolence!
But they won't hide inside of our clothes any longer. From now on, if you like them, it will be for the color of their eyes. Strip down immediately.
Farewell, my finery. Oh.
The Marquis and the Vicomte fall to the floor.
You thought you could trespass on our territory? You'll have to find some better way to impress your beauties.
It's too much. To take our place in our clothes.
Oh, fortune, not art and Constance.
Get those garments off. All of them, hurry up.
Now, take all those clothes away. Hurry. And so, ladies, we leave you to continue your relations with them in this state of nature as long as you wish. And we grant you full permission to do so. And I assure you that this gentleman and I will not be in the least bit jealous.
Oh, no. Oh, confusion. I'm boiling with shame.
What is going on? Who is going to pay us?
Ask the Vicomte.
Who will give us our money?
That's the Marquis.
Vixens! What are you trying to do? Send me to my winding sheets? I just heard about this affair from the gentleman who went out.
Father, they played a filthy trick on us.
Own fault, but I'm the poor creature that has to suffer the insult.
We will have our revenge on them, or I will die from the disgrace. Are you still here, you imposters? After that pretense?
Oh, what a nice way to talk to a Marquis. This is how it is in society. The slightest mishap, and the people who cherish you one moment despise you the next. Come, my friend, we will find our fortune elsewhere. It is plain to me that the people in this house worship outward appearance and have no respect for naked virtue.
Monsieur, they haven't paid for our playing, so we'll have to ask you.
Yes, yes, I'll pay you. Here's your salary. And I don't know why I don't do the same to the two of you. Will be the butt and the laughing stock of everybody. That's what comes of your showing off. Run away and hide from my sight. And you're the cause of their madness. You stupid books. You bantam. You pernicious entertainments for lazy minds. You fancies, romances, songs, verse and words. I hope you will be the biggest bonfire in hell.
No, father, I will not agree to that.
What are you muttering there, you stubborn brat? How dare you argue when I've had my say? Do I or don't I have unquestioned sway over you? Or are daughters, by your lights, allowed to trample on the father's rights? Which of us makes the law here? Tell me who, in your opinion, knows what's best for you. And I'd better warn you now, girl, that this infantile defiance is bound to stimulate my bile. And if you drive me to my last resource, you'll soon feel whether my arm has lost its force. In other words, Miss Mutineer, be wise. Forget this nonsense and accept the prize I'm offering you. You think I have no idea what sort of man comes with it? Have no fear. I'm told Valaire's were provided for. A private fortune. Who could ask for more? Those 20,000 ducats he'll inherit are yours for love, provided you can spare it. Who cares about his faults when every taint is worth its weight in gold?
Alas, but father, I don't understand.
What's that supposed to mean? I hate alasses, and don't you make a scene, my girl, and rouse my blood, or very soon you'll sing alas to quite a different tune. No wonder you're obsessed by stupid fancies when day and night you read these cheap romances which fill your head with love instead of higher and holier matter. Fling them in the fire before they wreck your morals, as in truth, they've undermined so many of our youth. Get hold of books that deal with good behavior by expressing the examples of our Savior. Thoughtful books of saws, precepts, and proverbs. The best ones written by a Spanish nun called Sinners. Learn them by heart. They'll teach you how to learn and to correct your failings and to pick up some respect for me.
But father, how can I forget that I'm engaged to Lely? If I let you talk me into this, I still defy your orders. You selected him, not I.
Lely's a pleasant fellow, but who needs him when someone who comes along who supersedes him? I simply fail to see how he competes with all that wealth. His looks are mere conceits, but good old gold has its peculiar charms. It flattens opposition and disarms all criticism. Yes, I know you don't happen to love Valère, but still that won't stop you from marrying him. A husband grows acceptable sooner than you suppose, for love's just the fruit of marriage. Oh, I'm a fool to plead instead of laying down the rule. Enough of this. From now on, you'll give way to all my wishes, listen and obey. Your new fiancé will be coming here this evening, and I expect you to appear grateful and gracious with a smile that tells plainly how much you welcome him, or else.
What is all this demonstration of dismay for? This is what most young women like you should pray for. When father mentions marriage, they say yes on the spot. They do not cry. When someone came to me and said, "Oh, I insist on giving you this man," would I resist? My guess is that I would reply with at least a dozen yeses. Your brother's Tudor is far from dense. The other day he said something that just makes sense. Women are like ivy. No, he's not blushing. Pull them away from the tree trunk and they're nothing. Separate a woman from the man and they are useless. Just the same that they are finished and diminished. I can confirm that his words are true to life and born out of my own experience as a wife. God took my husband from me, as you know, as he was alive some years ago. Oh, you should have seen me young and gay and fresh. Rosy cheeks, sparkling eyes, firm flesh. Now look at me, I look like my own godmother. Why, I have to smother myself in blankets just to stay warm. But I remember when I could stay warm in the mid-December without a fire. A man is what you need beside you in bed when winter breaks. To give you a squeeze and say, God bless you, every time you sneeze.
How can you tell me to betray Lely and break my vow? What will he think of me?
Oh, Lely is an idiot for staying abroad so long, if you ask me. Why not be smart and realize that he has had a change of heart?
Yet I will not believe. There isn't a trace of falsehood in his face or in his soul. This noble mouth, this brow, this honest eye. How could I think that they would ever lie?
He does look faithful and sincere, that's true. Maybe you're right to love him as you do.
And yet, I can't. Help me.
Madam, you slumped. Stand up. Oh, good heavens, she's fainting. Quick! Someone! Anyone!
I heard the call. What's wrong?
My lady's dying.
Is that all? The way you screamed, I thought it was something serious. Let's see. Madame! Woman! Wake up! Are you dead or just delirious? She doesn't answer.
I will get some water and some people to assist while you support her.
She's cold all over. I'm afraid it's death. Wait! First, I ought to listen for her breath. I'm no doctor, but I'd almost swear she's breathing still.
What's going on up there? Nice. Quickly. I'll run down to the tree.
Let's hurry up for help. She's almost gone. It's wrong of her to happen. Try to go up to a higher sphere when everything's so nicely set up here.
No sign of him. I call it animosity to flit like that and foil my curiosity. Now I'm convinced he's up to something. What? The little I saw explains a lot. At last, I understand the freezing glances I get in answer to my chaste advances. He's saving his embraces for some younger acquaintances, while I, poor woman, hunger. They're all alike, these men in captivity. Give them their freedom and they take a liberty. In the beginning, they're all steam and fire, kisses and poetry. But soon they tire and leave us on our own. It's obvious they're giving to others what belongs to us. Let's modify the law to allow a wife to change her husband like a blouse. That would be wonderful. And quite a few other abandoned wives would like it too. What's this? A jewel case from someone's pocket. Carved and enameled, charming. No, a locket. I look inside.
Dead. Ha! She had a spell of weakness. In a few minutes, she was well. Is that my wife?
A miniature. How neat. He's handsome, and the painting's very sweet.
What's that she has in her hand? Upon my soul, a portrait. I don't like this rigmarole.
An ugly thought has struck me. A suspicion.
The workmanship's a marvel of precision. Some lady got this gift and now she's missing it. Oh, it smells so fragrant too.
Good God, she's kissing him. At last I follow.
Oh, it must be ravishing to have a man so bold and brilliant, lavishing attentions on you, bending to your whim. I could be tempted by the likes of him. Why don't I have a husband of this stamp in place of my old hulking brute?
You tramp. I find you standing right outside our house, dismantling the honor of your spouse. And judging from your language that you drew the wrong card, I'm not good enough for you? Well, by Beelzebub, who ought to carry you off, who would you prefer to marry? A more upstanding man than I? Unthinkable. A slighter carriage, spirits more unsinkable. A loftier brow with thicker hair above, a face and shape more clearly made for love. I, for whom many women pant and sigh, thousands of them, I cannot satisfy your greed. But no, I'm only soup or fish, an appetizer for the second dish.
I understand this bragging and abuse. You think you can pretend?
Stop. No excuse. This thing's here in my hand. No lawyer needs more damning evidence of your misdeeds.
I warn you, don't provoke me anymore by adding trumped-up insults to the score. I'm keeping tabs on you. But first I'll take my locket back and then you can...
That can break your neck. I wish I had him in my clutch instead of this picture.
What for?
Nothing much, my lamb. I have no reason to complain. I thank you from the bottom of my pain. So here he is, the darling of the bed, the spark that lights your hidden flame, the head that topples hearts, the urchin who...
Does what?
The wretch, I should say, who... No, I'd better not.
Why does this drunken nitwit rage and shout?
Slut, you know very well if this gets out, I'll lose the name I've always proudly borne. The kids on the street will call me Mr. Horn. I had to thrash you without hesitation, if only to uphold my reputation.
How can you rant like this in front of neighbors?
How can you revel in these randy capers?
What capers? Please inform me, be explicit.
It's plain as day, I wish I could dismiss it, and smile courageously as if it were a gag, to wear a pair of antlers like a stag.
First, you insult me with the worst offense a man can perpetrate. Then you incense me more by starting to invent affairs that I have taken part in. How fitting for the uncrowned king of knaves to tell his spotless wife she misbehaves.
Impudent woman, when you behave haughty, no one would ever think you were naughty.
Go, truckle to your mistresses. Caress them, promise them pleasure, worship them, possess them, but don't attempt to toy with me. That's mine.
I'll get it back. I'll make her hold the line.
Now that we're safely home, monsieur, I'm wondering if I may ask you one little thing.
What is it?
Are you made of stone or steel? Not to give away after that long ordeal. For 7 days we rode the clock around and almost drove our nags into the ground. It's shaken me so badly that I feel as if I've had a session on the wheel. And that's not counting all the aches and tensions in one part of the body I won't mention. Yet here you are, alert and looking bright, without a wink of sleep, without a bite.
The ride was worth the effort. I've been dreading the news since I was warned about the wedding. I love Sally so much. I must discover how strong her feelings are for this new lover.
Yes, but to get you in the proper mood, you have to get a plate of food inside you, sir. Then, if the news is bleak, it won't be such a strain on your physique. I find myself that when I haven't eaten, the slightest misadventure leaves me beaten. But when I've had a meal washed down with something wet, oh, I weather the roughest storms of destiny. So stuff your stomach, sir. Too much is not enough. And if you want to shut out the troubles, line your heart with 20 brimming mugs of wine.
I don't want anything.
I'm getting thinner each second. Can't I get you some dinner?
Not now.
My master's rules are so unjust.
I'm worried sick. I couldn't eat a crust.
I'm worried and I'm famished. This affair is getting to be more than we can bear.
Leave me to myself. Go off and gorge your fill and take a rest.
My master's rules, I must say, are so enlightened.
I ought to look for her. But I am too frightened. She seemed in love with me and gave her hand. Her father promised. I don't understand.
Now I got it. And now I can inspect the face of this ugly dog who's wrecked my wife and life. Don't know him.
How did he come by the souvenir I gave to Sally?
Oh, poor Scanarelle. Your dignity's been dirtied too badly for it to be reasserted.
She took that gift to serve as a pledge of love. I've reason to be worried.
My name will be immortalized in verse as Scanarelle the Seer. Or even worse, the world will point 2 fingers in my face to show how low-born women bring disgrace.
I could be wrong.
Destroyed before my time. Oh, sweet Jezebel, you've soiled me in my prime. A monkey-faced juvenile has marred my splendid image. I'm forever scarred.
No, that is a portrait of me.
He's watching.
Now I know she doesn't love me.
What does he want?
I must get this straight. Pardon, but I'd like to speak.
Too late.
I'm curious to know how you acquired that portrait, which I noticed you admired.
He's curious, is he? So is his request. Wait, now I begin to see what's on his chest. He was anxious to converse. He's it, or to be more accurate, he's hers.
Would you be kind enough to tell me where you are?
I understand your question, and I share your trying circumstances in more ways than one. This portrait of you, I must praise its likeness, came from somebody who knew immoderately well, a lady who cannot contain herself. And though she must have mentioned you, your deeds were not discussed. But to be frank, I wish that you would refrain from putting such a strain on the bonds of marriage. For you see...
You mean to tell me that you're her husband and she's your...
My wife. Exactly. Yes. Thank you for your acumen.
My God, her husband.
Yes, I'm only human. I like my marriage. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must go tell her father.
How can she refuse me and pick this lumpy creature in my place? Oh, the rumors did him justice. Can she face the memory of when we swore that oath of loyalty? Did it apply to both or only one of us? Oh, I ought to fight to win her back, if only out of spite. That vixen! Oh! But this outrage to my pride, combined with the exhaustion of the ride, comes like a blow. Oh, a wave of violence breaking upon me, and I feel my body shaking.
Monsieur, you haven't seen... But you're unwell! It's lucky I arrived, you almost fell.
It must have been the shock, a sudden malady.
Can you accept a little hospitality? Come in the house and rest, you don't look strong.
I will, but not for long.
I sympathize, my boy, with your dilemma, but aren't you rather anxious to condemn her? What you have told me so far hardly leads conclusively to proof of her misdeeds. These lapses on her part, although I grant it's hard to judge, as evidence seems scant.
You mean I have to catch her in the act?
Don't be too rash. Investigate each fact. You should discover how she came to get this gift and if she ever really met this man. Be patient, and if your impression's confirmed, I'll see that she pays for her transgressions.
That's sensible advice. I should proceed with care. It's not unlikely that I read too deeply into one incident and feel too vividly. Those ones were almost real. And as for that miniature, that made me quake. Who knows? It may have even been a fake. So, with an open mind, blood, death, and war. That portrait doesn't matter anymore. Here's the original in high relief and in my house.
Your rest was much too brief to let you get your strength back. Won't you stay?
I better not, madame. I must pay a visit. But I thank you for your help.
His mouth's still full of gallantry. The whelp. He's noticed me. He'll never dare to speak.
How can she give herself to such a freak? No, no. I must tame this pointless hate. He is not the one to blame. Rather, I'll envy him a love so rare. Oh, lucky man, your wife is beyond compare.
Well, that was clearly put. He didn't mix his metaphors or call it us in six. Their horns are coming back. I'm red with shame. Now listen here. You haven't played the game.
I'm sure that was Lely I discerned. It's strange, he didn't tell me he'd returned.
Oh, lucky man. Your wife's beyond compare, better beyond my reach. It isn't fair to have to watch them practice this deceit. He swept the woman off her wicked feet. Now what? Am I supposed to fold my arms and let him go as if I had no qualms? At last, I ought to stamp upon his hat or muddy up his cloak or knock him flat, and then appease my fury and grief and tell the whole world he's a thief.
Excusez-moi, but I wonder if you know that man who left a little while ago?
My wife's the one who knows him, madame, not I.
You seem to be all agitated. Why?
Forgive me this unreasonable lament, and let me suffer to my heart's content.
But what, monsieur, has made you so distraught?
If I'm distraught, madame, it's not for naught. I challenge any man of any station to be more cheerful in my situation. Before you stands the model for all men whose honor has been overthrown by them. My honor hardly counts beside the shame of having been deprived of my good name.
How?
Let me speak with all respect, madame. They've made a cuckold out of me, a ram with curly horns. Today, with my own eyes, I watched them at their furtive enterprise.
The man who just...
Yes, that's Philander. My wife's in love with him and he with her.
My intuition was correct. I guessed this secret visit meant some cruel jest at my expense. I trembled when I saw him spin about at my approach and withdraw.
Madame, you're very kind to take my part so personally. Others have much less heart. Some people that I spoke to thought me soft. When I told them about this, they scoffed.
No punishment I know is too severe for this abominable act. This sheer dishonesty. Don't think I'll forgive you for it ever. You're unfit to live. But could it happen?
Well, it did to me.
How can a man behave so villainously?
The darling girl.
For you, my evil friend, the flames of hell would be too kind an end.
Yeah, that's telling him.
To pay back faithfulness and innocence in such a way?
Yes!
To lay his simple nature open to contempt and insults.
What she says is true.
I'd say more, but it only makes my madness increase. Oh, I feel that I could die of sadness.
There, dear lady. Don't lose your control on my behalf. Your torments touch my soul.
I hope you don't imagine that these pleas, these useless imprecations will appease my anger? Never. I intend to make you suffer, and I know exactly what steps to take.
May heaven protect that girl from every danger. How moving when you come across a stranger who bleeds for you. Now, after that attractive display of wrath, I can't remain inactive. No man should try to keep his temper down under such blows, unless he's but a clown. I'll comb the city, searching for this hangman's bait, who in provoking Scanorel tempts fate, and teach the scoundrel, with one deadly stroke, not to make cuckolds out of honest folk. Slow down. The fellow has a fierce hair-trigger appearance. It appears that he disfigured my back as clearly as he did my front. Oh horns, oh whips, oh weapons big and blunt. I loathe these curs who are quick to take offense. What I prefer are peaceful men of sense. I never fight for fear of retaliation. My greatest virtue is my resignation. And yet my honor whimpers. Do not blench. Be brave. Insist on taking your revenge. My honor? Let it babble, let it buzz in my head for all the good it does. Suppose I play the warrior and launch a wild attack, and then my punch is run through with a rod of sharpened steel, so that the entire town hears my dying squeal. Tell me, your honor, what will you be worth when I'm laid in that damp, unhealthy earth? It appears my honor gravely warps my judgment. Better a cuckold than a corpse. Who cares about deception? What's the harm in it? It doesn't wound your leg or arm. A plague upon the fool who first inflicted honor upon mankind and then restricted it to cuckolds with clean lives rather than to their double-dealing wives. Penalties are for criminals, not for innocent bystanders. Explain what you would do, your honor, if you were in my position and your wife were cut loose without permission. It's time for somebody to call a halt when she commits the crimes and I'm at fault. The police, not I, should carry out this miscarriage of justice, this abuse of legal marriage. Aren't there enough disasters that befall the average man? I couldn't list them all. Squabbles, and lawsuits, hunger, thirst, disease, following each other in an endless squeeze, the pattern of our troubled lives. And now, the extra nuisance rears itself somehow. A false alarm? Of course, I shake my fist on it. I stamp on it. It can't exist. And if my wife's done wrong, then let her cry. When I've done nothing, why on earth should I? In any case, I ought to feel consoled that I am made in the exact same mold as many of my other husbands. For you see, it is a fact that adultery is an awfully widespread practice. Isn't the wisest man then he who stifles his rage instead of fighting over trifles? I look stupid, but good Lord, I look much more stupid dangling from a sword. However, I still feel the circulation within my belly. The obligation to have my own back burns in me once more. Where is that crook? I'll even up the score. Let him beware, and I stir up new strife and tell the world that he's sleeping with my wife.
Yes, father dear, whatever you decide will suit me perfectly. You be my guide and sign the marriage contract. I accept its ruling as my law. Now that I have my former feelings in control, I find that you have my best interests in mind.
That's what I like to hear. That sort of talk. Oh, I'll skip for joy. No, someone's sure to gawk and grin at me. How can I express my pleasure, my parental tenderness? Oh, darling child, give me a kiss. I don't see that there's anything amiss in such behavior. A father should be proud to kiss his girls, never mind the crowd. Oh, how well I brought you up. What tasteful breeding. You've made me 10 years younger just by heeding my wishes.
That was a turnabout.
That rogue, Lely, my so-called love, has been deceiving me. He crept back home with not even a...
Oh, but look, he comes.
Before we part forever, there are some unpleasant matters I'd like to broach.
You dare address me, let alone reproach?
I've spoken out of turn. I should apologize. You've made your choice. It's good. You're worthy of your husband, I don't doubt. Respect his love and shut my memory out.
Yes, Viper. I'll return his love and treasure the hope that will bring you great displeasure.
Why this fury in your voice and eyes?
And why this show of innocent surprise?
War! Mortal warfare! Battle, blood, and scrimmage! Slay the buffoon who disgraces my image!
Now do I need to answer and accuse you? Look there.
I'm looking.
Doesn't that confuse you?
Not at all. You shall be the one to blush.
My rage is rising in a steady rush. My courage, mounted on its mighty steeds, goes forth to fight. There'll be fearful deeds when we catch up with him. Ah! When Scanarelle dispatches him unmercifully to hell. Straight in the middle of his ribs, I'll throw one. Here.
Who is your enemy, monsieur?
Who? No one.
Then why these weapons?
What? Oh, these are for protection against the weather, if you've no objection. Now I must kill him. Now I must be brave.
What?
I said nothing. Coward, chicken, slave.
The sight of that poor creature ought to prey on someone's guilt. That's all I have to say.
It should indeed. I look at him and think in wonder of how low a girl can sink, how she can make a mockery of love.
For 1 gram of courage.
That's enough. I'll hear no more. You're insolent and cruel.
See, Scanarelle, she backs you in the duel. Muster your mettle. Summon all your vigor. Let it swell my body. Now, even bigger. Now, I must stab him where he's weakest. In the back.
You take each word I speak as an attack. So, I'll pretend I'm satisfied with your choice and voice nothing but admiration.
Yes, I'm delighted too that it's arranged.
Why not? Defend it since it can't be changed.
Of course you should defend it. Don't the laws, monsieur, prohibit actions such as yours? If I were not a gentleman with more restraint than most, these streets would run with gore.
I fail to understand your question. How did...
Please, notice these decorations on my brow. Your conscience and your natural discretion should tell you that my wife is my possession. You've traded on your reticence and tact. That's not the way a Christian ought to act.
Your fear, monsieur, is foolish and unfounded. But don't stop there. Continue it, compound it. I know she's yours and far from being jealous.
Traitor! How you invent new lies to sell us?
What? You think I can entertain one thought that would give this poor fellow pain? You really do believe that I'm a traitor?
Ask him. Ask him. He'll give you all the data.
No, please go on. I love the way you cried, madame. It's good to have you on my side.
I'm not the type, madame, who bears a grudge, nor would it be correct for me to judge your motives. But I won't be brushed off lightly. I see what's going on and it's unsightly. Your heart should have more noble a design than capturing the heart that should be mine.
That declaration isn't very clear.
Slut! Who invited you to interfere? She came to my defense. Don't persecute her. Ah, you're only jealous that you'll lose your suitor.
Madame, I cannot say I envy you. Well, was I lying? Now you admit it's true.
I'm more perplexed than ever.
I wonder if we will ever reach an ending to this tiff. I have stood by patiently and tried to swallow it down, but the more I hear, the less I follow. Perhaps I'm the one who ought to set things straight.
Well, she decided to first...
Speak unless you are spoken to. The others, wait. In simple language, how has she hurt you?
I had no doubt at all of her virtue until I heard the rumor. Then I sped back here at once, praying I'd been misled. My overwhelming passion for her carried me home within a week to find her married.
Married to whom?
Him.
To him?
To whom?
that?
Why, he did.
Oh, I assume that this is true.
But I only said that I was the husband of my wife.
I thought because I found my portrait in your hand
Yes, here it is.
and heard you reprimand the woman it belonged to on my life, you said the woman was your wife.
She is. Without this locket thing, I swear, I would have never found out of her affair.
What, my affair? I stood there in the street and found the locket lying at my feet. A little later, when this man looked ill, I made him go indoors to rest, but still, I didn't recognize him at the time.
I dropped the locket when I swooned. So I'm responsible as things turn out for all the fuss. You took me home, if you recall.
You see, you'd still be shouting Viper, traitor, if it wasn't for me, the mediator.
Did all of this happen to us or did it not? For a while, my forehead felt very hot.
I'm not convinced yet that my premonitions were altogether false. I have suspicions.
Oh, in that case, I propose a lasting truce, one in which I have more to lose than you do. Let's trust each other to the full.
Agreed. But if you slip, beware the bull.
Good heavens, if this is true, what have I done? It's all my fault, the consequence of one distracted moment. Thinking you had broken your marriage vow and went back on your token, I took revenge by consenting to a wedding which I am sure to spend my life regretting. My father has my promise. I foresee. But here he comes.
He'll keep his pledge to me. Monsieur, I have returned. As you will note, still deep in love, still ready to devote myself entirely to Célie and show that I am worthy of her hand. And so...
Monsieur, you have returned, as I will note, still deep in love, still ready to devote yourself entirely to Célie and show that you are worthy of her hand. And so, I am at your service. My reply is no.
Is this, monsieur, the way you keep your oath?
It is, monsieur. My duty makes me loath to break my word to Célie's new intended.
Your word to Lely was easily amended.
Daughter, you swore to me that you'd abide by my decisions and take me as your guide. Moliere, oh, but here's his father, come to make it final about the wedding plans, I take it. Well, Villebrequin, what brings you without warning?
New information, which I learned this morning. It cancels our agreement for my son, who was supposed to be wedded to Célie, has done what none of us who are close to him suspected. For 4 months now, he has been the undetected husband of Lise. I can't annul the match. She's wealthy and well-bred, a splendid catch. I've come to say...
Defended perfectly, and we'll start to reconsider. But let me reveal that long ago I said I'd give Célie to this young man, who's rich in honesty and other virtues. And I wouldn't dream of having any son-in-law but him.
A handsome couple.
Thank you. May you thrive for making me the happiest man alive.
Set the date. Now, everything's decided.
What man ever looked more of a couple than I did? Yes, looked. For this event proves it's vain to trust appearances, however plain. When all the evidence as you receive it adds up to one conclusion, don't believe it.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, we're wasting time we can't afford. Is everybody here? Damn it, will you pay attention? Monsieur de Becotte?
What?
Monsieur de Lagrange?
Yes.
Monsieur Ducoisy?
Bonjour.
Mademoiselle Dupac?
Well?
Mademoiselle Béjac?
What is it?
Mademoiselle Dubry?
What are we doing? Oh.
Mademoiselle Ducoisy?
What's the matter?
Mademoiselle Evan?
Almost ready.
These people will be the end of me. Listen, all of you, are you deliberately trying to make me lose my sanity?
What the heat? We don't know our parts. You're making us lose our sanities, forcing us to go ahead like this.
Actors, Impossible creatures to handle.
We're all here. What do you want with us?
What do you have in mind?
What are we doing?
We have our costumes on. Let's get ready to start. The king will be here in 2 hours. We can make good use of the time by blocking out the business and improving the readings.
How can we act our parts we haven't even learned?
I don't remember one word I'm supposed to say.
I'll have to be prompted from start to finish.
I'll have to hold my script.
I hardly have any lines to speak.
Or do I, but I won't be responsible if I fluff them.
100 francs for anyone who wants my part.
Log me 20 times before I play mine.
Look at the way you're all quivering over a few simple parts. What would you do if you were me?
I feel sorry for you. You wrote the play. You're not afraid of trying up.
Bad memory's not the only thing I'm afraid of. If this play fails, it's my failure. To stage a comedy for this kind of an audience is no joke. These are not easy people to amuse or impress. They laugh only when they feel like it. What author wouldn't tremble at this severe test? I should be the one that wants to back out.
If you're nervous, it's your own fault. You should have taken the proper precautions and given yourself more than a week to put the thing together.
How could I help it? The king gave me an order.
How? By excusing yourself respectfully. By explaining that it is impossible in such a short time. Any other author would have refused to commit himself so heavily. What happens to your reputation if the play goes over badly? Think of how you wrote about it.
She's right. You should have politely asked the king to excuse you or to give you more time.
The king expects prompt obedience. He doesn't like obstacles thrown up at him. He wants his entertainment when he asks for it. He doesn't wish to be kept waiting. We can't study our personal feelings. We're here to satisfy him. And when he gives us an opportunity, we must seize it and do our best to give him pleasure in return. It's better to make a clumsy attempt than to not make an attempt until too late. And even if we don't entirely succeed, it will be to our credit that we complied with his order. Now, please, the rehearsal.
How are we supposed to rehearse when we don't even know our parts?
But you will, I promise, not thoroughly perhaps, but you do know what the play is about, and you can improvise since it's in prose.
Pardon me, prose is even worse than poetry.
May I say something? You should have written a comic monologue for yourself.
Quiet, my darling wife, you're a fool.
Thank you, my precious husband. That is how marriage changes people. You never would have spoken to me like that 18 months ago.
Will you please be quiet?
It's strange how little ceremony can destroy a man's fine qualities. The admirer becomes the husband, and suddenly he looks at his wife with a different pair of eyes.
Enough of this chatter.
Yes, that would be the same if I were to play. I'd explain away all the faults women are accused of, and then I'd dramatize the contrast between the cabinets of your husband and the courtesy of a lover.
Touché. Let's drop the discussion, please. We have more important things to do.
When the king asked you for the criticism of your other work, why didn't you write the play about the Bourgogne actors, which you so often described to us? When the critics did their satirical portrait of you, they left themselves wide open, and your portrait of them was a much more accurate picture than theirs was of you. They tried to spoof your comic acting, but they weren't imitating you at all. Only the role you were playing, your makeup, and the mannerisms you adopted in trying to draw a comic character from life. But when you mock an actor in a serious part, you come very close to mocking him as a man, because serious acting doesn't allow him to cover up his personal faults with ridiculous tricks and comic gestures.
That's true, but I had my reasons for not satirizing the Bourgogne actors. Between us, I didn't think it was worth the trouble. They perform on the same days as we do, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and I can't have seen them more than 3 or 4 times since we settled back in Paris 5 years ago. I've caught only the obvious heroics and flourishes in their acting, and I'd need to pay more visits if I wanted to portray them with any depth.
I recognize several of them from your impersonations immediately.
Oh, I never heard those.
It was part of a skit, a flimsy item I had in mind at one time, which might not have been very funny.
Oh, tell me about it. You've already told the others.
I can't spare the time.
Oh, in a couple of words.
I was thinking about a comedy in which a playwright, I'd have taken that part for myself, offers a script to a troupe of actors who had just come into town. He says, "Have the actors and actresses to do justice to a work of art? Or this play of mine is..." And then one of the actors interrupts him. "Well, monsieur, we have some men and some women who seemed acceptable wherever they appeared. And which one of you plays the kings?" Here's an actor who's tolerably good at kings. "What? That slim young fellow, are you joking? A king ought to be big and bloated, the size of 4 men put together, swag-bellied and circular, a man who really fills a throne, not some well-built youngster. That's a mark against him already. Let me hear him declaim a few lines." Whereupon the actor recites some lines from Corneille's Nicomedes. You remember the king in Act 1, Scene 2? "I must tell you, Rasp, he has served me too well, extending my powers," and so on, with just the right amount of natural feeling. But the playwright says, "What? You call that declaiming? That mumble? Without any stresses? Listen to me. I must tell you, Rasp, he has served me too well, extending my powers." And notice my stance, says our playwright, and the broad gestures. At the end of the speech, you must thunder out the last line. That's how you win your audience. You rock them, they love it, they scream for more. "Excuse me, monsieur," says the actor, "but it seems to me that when a king is carrying on a quiet conversation with one of his officers, he does it in a more personal tone, not like Satan addressing his minions." "That shows you don't understand the theater. Talk the way you just did and see if you get a single clap. Let's try something different, a love scene." So next, an actor and an actress do a dialogue from Horatius between Camilla and Curiatus.
"My love, will you take part in this grotesque affair without considering the risk?"
"Yes, I will go with him, knowing, as I do, that from my hand or from grief I must die. A soldier's honor becomes his own scaffold." They do it naturally and quietly, as they should, but the playwright says, "That was a mockery, worthless. Here's the way to get it across. My love, will you take part in this grotesque affair without considering the risk?" Now do you understand? Passionate but not overdone. Did you see my face? She couldn't stop smiling through the greatest afflictions. That was the idea, ladies and gentlemen. We would have dealt with all the actors and actresses in the Bourgogne troupe in the same way.
I like it, and I recognize each actor as soon as you said the first line. More, please.
Rodrigue, Act 1, Scene 6 of the Cid. "With my heart deeply pierced by this terrible thrust, I find myself called for revenge. Now I must uphold my old father's discredited name by wounding or killing her father, that same dear lady I love." Or this one from Sertorius. You remember Pompey's speech in the beginning of Act 3. "The enmity reigning between our two sides shall never enfeeble the honor that rides above these low hatreds, distorted, perverse, which threaten our virtues and bring even worse disasters upon us."
Yes, I recognize him too.
Or how about this fellow, Oedipus, Act 1, Scene 5, when he learns the truth about his birth. "But you tell me my father is dead. But why come to me with this news that I dread? Why you? Why the minister whom, above all, he trusted? The man who raised me? My fall seems imminent now."
Yes, I know who that is, but there are a few of them in that company. You'd find it hard to imitate.
Oh, they could all be mimicked one way or another if I studied them properly. But you're making me waste valuable time again. Let's concentrate on ourselves, please, and not get diverted by any more chatter. Lagrange, are you ready? You'll be playing a Marquis, and so will I.
Marquis? Again?
Is anybody else as appropriate for the comic butt? The Marquis is your clown in modern comedies, just as in the old days you had a servant as your comedian. Today you must have a foppish Marquis to get the laughs.
True, you can't do without your Marquis.
Now, Mademoiselle Dupac.
To be horrible in this part. I don't know why you always make me play a fashionable lady.
You said the same thing in the last play, yet you pulled it off marvelously. Everybody said you couldn't have done better. You'll do it again. I promise. You just don't know how good you are.
How's that possible? I'm the least fashionable lady there is.
Exactly. That proves what a fine actress you are. Capturing a person who is totally unlike you. Now, the play opens with the two Marquises meeting. I want you all to get inside your characters, to become them. Duquoisy, you're the playwright, and you must fill out his personality. He is a pedant moving in high society, trying to hold on to what he thinks is his integrity. Pompous tone of voice, rigorous pronunciation, which doesn't miss a single syllable. You can practically hear every letter spelled out. Record. Your part will be exactly the same as that of Dorante in the last play. An honest man at court. Look thoughtful, speak in a natural voice, and gesticulate as little as possible. Lagrange, you don't need any advice. Mademoiselle Béjart, you are one of those women who thinks that just because she doesn't make love, she can do anything else. She sits back proudly on her prudery, looking down on every newcomer, each one telling herself that other women's virtues don't compare to her miserable honor, which nobody wants to take from her anyway. Imagine her face in front of yours so that you can capture the right expressions. Mademoiselle Dubry, you're one of those people who think she's good as long as nobody knows she's bad. If there is no sin, there can't be any scandal. When there is an affair afoot, she pursues it quietly, and she calls the young men who come wooing her my innocent friends. Steep yourself in this character. Mademoiselle Moliere, you too will create the same exact character as the one in the last play. That's all I need to tell you. Same goes for you, Mademoiselle Duparc. Mademoiselle Duquoisy, you are one of those women who pay nasty compliments to everybody. You can't bear to hear anybody speak well of your neighbor, and you never miss a chance to drop a sweet insult out of the side of your mouth. I think you can carry this off well. Finally, Mademoiselle Eve, you are similar to the servant girl in Two Precious Maidens, Ridiculed. You join in on the conversation now and again and borrow your mistress's jargon. Now, I've told you all about the most important characteristics, and I hope I have impressed them upon you. Now we'll run through the text and see how it... Oh, what's this? Somebody's crashed the rehearsal. That's all we need.
Good morning, Monsieur Moliere.
At your service, monsieur. To hell with you.
And how's it going?
Very well, thank you. Now, ladies, please.
I've just been saying some nice things about you.
You are very kind. Ladies, please, be certain...
You're doing a new play today?
Yes, monsieur. As I was saying, ladies, please...
And the king commissioned it?
Yes, monsieur. Ladies, please, be careful.
What's the name of it?
Yes, monsieur.
I asked you what you're calling it.
Good heavens, I don't know. Ladies, please, be certain...
What costumes are you wearing?
The ones we're wearing now, ladies, please.
How soon will you begin?
May I choke with anger, monsieur, if I know. Ladies.
You have no idea?
Now look, monsieur. I am the most ignorant man in the world, and I swear I have no reply to whatever question you ask of me. I'm losing the little self-control I have left. This dolt wanders in with his countless queries. Nothing ruffles him, and he doesn't seem to realize that other people have work to do.
Ladies, your bewitched servant.
Oh, he's starting on them.
There you stand, as beautiful as a freshly minted angel, huh? Are you both in the play?
Yes, monsieur.
Without the two of you, this show wouldn't amount to much.
Get rid of him, shake him off.
Monsieur, we're in the middle of rehearsal.
Of course you are. Don't let me stop you. Keep it up.
Yes, but the thing is,
No,
Monsieur...
I insist. I'm the last man to interrupt anybody. On with the show as if I were not here, huh?
Yes, Monsieur, but the thing is...
I never stand on ceremony. You may rehearse as much as you wish.
Monsieur, these ladies are trying to tell you that they prefer not to have anybody present during rehearsal.
Why? I'm not in any danger, am I?
Well, no, it's a tradition in the theater, and you will enjoy the performance more if it comes as a surprise.
In that case, I'll run along and tell everyone you're ready.
No, don't hurry, please. There's no rush. The world is full of fools. Now, once and for all, let's begin. You're all aware that the play takes place in the king's antechamber. That's a place where amusing things happen every day. We can assume that almost everybody comes there and invent reasons for the arrival of the ladies I've introduced. Lagrange, are you ready? You'll be playing a marquis, and so will I. Please remember to come in, like I told you, with that swaggering manner they call the society air, fussing with your wig and humming a little melody. La, 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 la. The rest of you arrange yourselves over there in order to give us room. These are not men who allow themselves to be crowded in. First line, please.
Good morning, Marquis.
That sounds nothing like a marquis. Take it a little bit higher. These fellows affect a special way of talking in order to distinguish themselves from the common herd. Good morning, Marquis. Again.
Good morning, Marquis.
Ah, Marquis, your most devoted servant.
What are you doing here?
As you see, I am waiting for this gentleman to move and clear the doorway so that I can show my face.
Oh, what a frightful crowd. I'm not at all anxious to join the crush. I like to be among the last to enter.
There are 20 people there who have no hope of getting in, yet they keep pushing and blocking every approach to the doorway.
Oh, if we give our names to the usher, he'll call us in.
So very well for you. Personally, I have no desire to provide material for Molière.
Yes, I think, Marquis, wasn't it you he was imitating in the criticism of the School for Wives?
Excuse me, it was you to the life.
Well, you're generous to lend me your characteristics.
Oh, you're funny to offer me what belongs to you.
That is a scream.
It's a riot.
Oh, God. You seriously claim that you weren't the Marquis in the criticism?
Of course I was, exactly like me. With that business in scene 5 about cream puffs. Cream puffs, I hate them. Cream puffs, detestable. If it wasn't me, then who else was it?
Nobody else. It's not a bit of use pretending to be ironic. If you like, we'll bet on it and see which one of us is right.
How much?
I lay 100 pistolas that it was you.
100 pistols, it was you.
100 down?
90 on account and 10 down.
Agreed.
Taken.
Your money is taking a great risk.
Yours is in mortal peril.
Who's going to settle this for us?
Here's the very man, Chevalier.
What is it?
Very good, Precourt. You sound exactly like a marquis, but you're not playing a marquis. As I said before, I want you to speak naturally.
I'll try again.
Good. Chevalier!
What is it?
We are engaged in a dispute over who is the model for the marquis in Moliere's play. I am betting he is betting I am.
And I say it's neither one of you. You're both too foolish to put yourselves into that play. The other day, I heard Molière arguing with some people who charged him with the same offense. He replied that nothing displeased him more than being accused of taking particular people as targets. His aim, he said, is to portray types and not individuals, and that everyone in his plays are imaginary phantoms, if you like, and he invents them as he goes along in such a way as to entertain the audience. And he would be embarrassed if they resembled actual people. For some reason, he says, his rivals take a certain pleasure in tracking down mannerisms and attributing them to people he didn't think of at all in order to spoil his relations with those people. It's become bad enough, he says, to deter him from writing any more plays. And I agree with him. What's the point of pinning such and such a trait on so-and-so if his characters have traits that can fit 100 different people? The business of comedy is to present the flaws common to all men, especially the men of our time. It would be impossible for Moliere to dream up of nobody you've ever met if he were to be challenged with pillaring every living person who has the same flaws as his characters. He would indeed have to stop writing plays.
Come, Chevalier, you are defending Moliere in order to spare our friend here.
You missed the point. It is you he is sparing. I vote we get another opinion.
Yes, but first, Chevalier, tell us, if you don't think your Moliere is running out of inspiration.
No, my dear Marquis, I don't. We'll keep providing new inspiration because it's in our nature. We'll never change whatever he says or does.
Just a moment. Let's bring out that whole section more strongly. I'll run through the passage first. Listen. Yes, but first tell us, Chevalier, if you don't think your Moliere is running out of inspiration. No, my dear Marquis, I don't. We'll keep providing new inspiration because it's in our nature. We never change, whatever he says or does. Do you imagine he has used up every human folly? Without going outside this court, can't you think of 20 types he hasn't so much as touched on? For example, how about those who tear their friends apart the moment their friends move away? Or those sycophants who praise everyone they meet with the sort of sweetness that turns your stomach? Or those creeping characters who curry favor with you when you're rich, but turn their backs on you the moment you're in trouble? Or those discontented souls, those useless hangers-on who grumble about other people's appointments when for the past 10 years they have been plaguing their prince for a post? Or those lick-spittles who try to top each other with the servile greetings. Ah, monsieur, your most affectionate servant. Ah, monsieur, I am entirely yours. My friend, I would do anything for you. Use me as you will. Treat me as your dearest intimate. Let me convince you that I belong to you. I revere you unashamedly. I honor nobody more than you. I beg you to believe me. I entreat you never to doubt my loyalty. I am your lackey, your creature, your slave, and so on. You see, Marquis, Moliere has more subjects to choose from than you'll ever know what to do with. Add up all the ones he's touched on so far, and they are a mere fraction of what remains. That's roughly how the speech should go.
I follow.
Take it from there.
Here come Clement and Elise.
Very good, ladies. That's your cue. Dupac, be certain to wiggle your hips correctly and exaggerate your behavior. You might feel a little uncomfortable, but what does that matter? Sometimes we have to do violence to our nice, normal selves.
Indeed, madame, I knew it was you even from a distance because nobody else has quite the same work.
I'm waiting here for a man to come out, you know. I have some business to arrange with him.
The same with me.
Ladies, you can use those boxes for chairs.
Won't you have a seat, madame?
After you, madame.
Good, good. You nod greetings and stay seated for the rest of the conversation. Not the two Marquis, though. They stay standing, and they stand, they sit, they bob up and down as they feel more or less agitated. Chevalier, you really ought to give your goddess some medicine.
Why?
It don't look well on you.
It's for not making me laugh.
Madame, I love the bleached white of your complexion on the angry red of your lips.
Don't look at me, madame. I beg of you. I am so ugly today.
Oh, now, lift the veil a little higher.
I tell you, I look frightful. I terrify myself.
Oh, but you look beautiful.
I'm not.
Do let me see.
Please don't ask me.
Be generous.
I dare not.
Yes, you dare.
Why do you insist?
Again.
Oh, why?
I'm determined not to give up this opportunity.
You're such a strange person. When you want something, you want it feverishly.
I swear you do yourself no harm by coming out into the daylight. Those awful people tell me you put stuff on your face. Stuff as nonsense. Now I'll be able to say that is not true.
Oh dear, I don't even know what you mean by stuff. Where are the others going?
Ladies, how would you like to hear some delightful news? Our dramatist, Monsieur Lycidas here, has just informed us that the play is going to be written attacking Moliere, and it's going to be done by the Begonia troupe.
That's true. Some fellow wanted to read it to me, a fellow named Basso or Bruce.
His name is Bosson, and he is indeed listed as an author on the placards. But I'll let you all in on a secret. A number of people had a hand in the writing, so now everybody's dying to see it. All the playwrights and actors in Paris look on Molière as their main enemy, so we united against him. Every one of us has had a brushstroke to the portrait, but we refrained from publishing our names. People would have thought it too easy if he were crushed by the whole of Parnassus at once. We want to make his defeat more shameful by giving his credit to an unknown writer.
Nothing, I assure you, could make me happier.
Me mocking the mocker, just what he deserves. Now let him suffer.
That will teach him not to make fun of everyone. He makes women, he makes fun of women and fine phrases. He wants us to sound like cleaning ladies.
Oh, no, the language is nothing. According to him, it's dishonest to have any virtues. He makes fun of our innocent friendships.
Oh, it is unbearable. There isn't a woman in town who can do a thing anymore. Why doesn't he leave our husbands alone instead of opening their eyes to matters they know nothing about?
That isn't important. The would-be wag satirizes even honest women. He calls them dignified she-devils.
I hope they were excused in his own juice.
Oh, he will, madame. When the play is performed, the actors will need all the support we can muster.
Let them not fear. I personally guarantee it will be a success.
You're right. Too many people have a stake in it. All those people who think they may have been mistreated by Molière won't miss the chance to come and applaud.
Oh, I can think of 12 marquises, 6 posses, 20 coquettes, and 30 cuckolds who will come and cheer themselves hoarse.
I don't blame them. Why should he insult so many people, especially the cuckolds? Oh, without them, society couldn't function.
By heaven, his plays are in for more than a painting, a pasting for actors and authors alike. The greatest and the smallest.
Set them right. Why should he write those wicked comedies for all of Paris to see, with people in them we ought recognize? Why doesn't he write like Monsieur Lycidas, who never attacks his soul? You never hear another playwright say their word against him. His works may not be popular, but at least they don't offend or provoke anybody. And we all agree that they are elegantly written.
It's a fact that I've never been unlucky enough to make any enemies, and scholars seem to approve of my writings.
You can be satisfied with yourself then. That approval is what's more than the applause and the money that Moliere's plays earn. Why should you care whether or not the public comes to see your plays as long as your colleagues respect them?
When is their performance for the painter painted?
I don't know, but I'm reserving a seat in the front row so that everybody will hear when I shout, "Bravo!"
They'll hear me too.
And me, by heaven.
Just let any people boo and I'll drown them out. It's the least we can do to uphold our interests.
Well said.
We're with you, every one of us.
Definitely.
With all my heart.
No quarter for this reputation ruiner.
Chevalier, your Moliere had better go into hiding.
But if I know him, he'll be at opening night and he'll laugh as loudly as everybody at the caricature of himself.
Yes, through his clenched teeth.
He may find more matter for enjoyment in the play than you expect. I've looked at the script, and since the most amusing lines in it are lifted from Moliere's own work, he won't object if the audience likes them. As for the remarks that are intended to slight him, unless I'm very much mistaken, the audience will have no sympathy for them. And as for the people who are gathering to support the play because they think Moliere's characters are too close to real life, I can only say they're behaving in doubtful taste. I can never imagine nothing more ridiculous. I never thought it was immoral for an actor to imitate people skillfully.
The Bourgogne performers tell me that they're expecting him to retaliate.
Retaliate? If you ask me, he'd be a fool to bother. Everybody knows the motives behind this play and why it's full of invective. The best reply he could make would be to write a play that's as big of a hit as the others. That's how he should take revenge. And if I know anything of the Bourgogne actors, nothing will annoy them more than losing their audiences to his next production. It will be better than 1,000 comedies that satirize them in person.
Yes, but Chevalier.
May I interrupt the rehearsal for a moment? I have something to say. If I were you, I'd arrange things differently. Everybody expects you to make a vigorous reply. And from what I heard of how you were dealt with in that comedy, you have every right to get back at them. I hope you won't spare a single one.
You get angry when I hear you speak like that, you women. You'd like me to fly off the handle and copy their cheap jibes. How much good would that do me? How much harm would that do them? Isn't that exactly what they're prepared for? When they were thinking about this play of theirs, they must have said to each other, let him insult us as much as he likes afterward, as long as we make our money. Is it possible to shame such people? And won't I avenge myself better by not giving them what they expect?
They made a great fuss all the same about those 3 or 4 words you used against them in the criticism and 2 precious maidens.
True, but they were right to quote those 3 or 4 words. They were insulting, but that's not why they're annoyed. The real injury I've done them is that we have been able to make their audiences laugh a little louder than they can. They've envied us for that ever since we came back to Paris. But let them say whatever they wish. It's hardly my business now. It's not my plays or the craftsmanship of it that's being attacked, but the king and his friends who liked it.
Still, it's not much fun to see your works torn to bits.
But what's that to me? I got as much out of my play as I'd want to, because it appealed to the select audience at court for whom it was written. These insults come a little too late, but if they come at all, it's hardly my business now.
All the same, I wouldn't let that squirt of a bush sot get away with vilifying somebody he has done nothing wrong to him.
You're mad. Boastful as the theme of an evening's entertainment for the court. How could you possibly distort him to make him seem amusing? And suppose somehow that you could. He'd be grateful to raise a laugh, any laugh, even at his own expense. He's got nothing to lose. He chooses to attack me because that's one way of getting his play known. The Bourgogne actors have unleashed him upon me only in order to entangle me in an idiotic war and to keep me so busy fighting it that I won't be able to write any more plays. And yet you are simple enough to want to adopt their strategy. But what am I going to do about it? Well, I intend to make a public announcement to this effect. I will not answer any of their criticisms or their counter-criticisms. They can say the very worst things of my plays, I don't mind. They can take my plays and turn them inside out like jackets for their stage and try to profit from whatever good things they find in them. And from my modest success, I give my consent. But for courtesy has its limits. There are things that don't amuse either spectators or the people being mocked. I willingly offer up my plays, my face, my gestures, my words, my tone of voice. I sacrifice my tricks of the trade for them to use as they will. I have no objections. I give my consent. But in yielding all this to them, I reserve the rest as my own property. They must be fair and not accuse me of moral or religious delinquency as they have in the past. That is all I will say to this honest gentleman whom they've engaged to write their play, and that is all the retaliation they shall get from me.
But in the end...
you'll infuriate me. Let's not talk of this anymore. We're chattering once again instead of rehearsing. Where were we? I don't remember.
We had just come into the part where we were...
Wait, what's that noise? Oh, the king is coming and we haven't had enough time to run through the rest of the script. That's what comes of gossiping. Well, all I can say is do the best you can.
I'm so frightened. If we don't go over the whole play again, I'll go try.
But you still don't know your part thoroughly?
No.
How do I?
How do I?
So I.
What can I do? Are you all mocking me?
Gentlemen, I am here to tell you that the king is here and he's waiting for you to begin.
Yes, monsieur, I am in utter torment at this moment, in utter despair. These ladies say they're terrified and that they must rehearse their lines more thoroughly before we can begin. The king is magnanimous and he knows when we have been rushed. Oh, no, please try to pull yourselves together. Be brave.
You better ask the king to excuse you.
At this time, how?
Gentlemen,
No.
let's begin.
We will, monsieur. Thank you. And then what? Do you want me to go front?
Let's begin.
We will. Please, everybody, please try to pull yourself together. Try to remember.
Begin.
That's very well, monsieur. We will. All these people come busting in and telling us to begin, but the king himself hasn't given us the order yet.
Gentlemen, let's begin.
Yes, monsieur. We will. Oh, what's this? He's coming back with the order. Yes, monsieur. You've come to tell us to begin, but the truth is...
Gentlemen, I have come to tell you that the king has heard of your difficulties, and by his special grace has asked me to come to tell you that your comedy may be postponed, and that he will be happy with any other play you are ready to give.
Monsieur, you restore me to life. The king has granted us the greatest possible favor in allowing us more time to rehearse the play that was written at his request, and he has our devout thanks for his boundless generosity. Everybody get to your places, please. First line, top of the show now.